What's going on? My name is Joe, and there is a war that's going on between two parties. And we, as just casual individuals, are just caught in the middle of it. There's two manifestations of capitalism that exist within the major political parties. And overall, while capitalism exists within both, they're not doing the same type of game of attracting eyes, attracting votes, attracting attention. You have corporate capitalists and oligarchy capitalists. And your corporate capitalists are just individuals, organizations, and other types of entities that operate within the political system and advocate for types of stability. And their main core function is to sell and advertise stability as what makes them the worthy group to be attracted to. So that looks like trade deals, some level of economic stability through those trade deals, and long-term investments that these elites and otherwise will invest upon that they're not going to see until far down the line. And they found their place in the Democratic Party. On the other end of it, the manifestation of capitalism that prioritizes chaos is the oligarch. And these are folks who make money through private equity firms, the privatization of goods and services, along with the pretty much overt destruction of the administrative state. They advertise are in the business of chaos. They're in the business of disorder. They believe that the way that we can actualize ourselves and actually be free, it's just the guardrails, and the guardrails have to be completely up. And they are totally fine for that level of chaos because the wealth from them and the wealth that the oligarchy builds is from a set of private individuals with high levels of influence and power. So instead of the corporations having high levels of influence and power, and by corporation, I'm talking about the large corporations that you see in like the corporate capitalist, the oligarchy capitalist will want that concentration to individuals. The problem is they can't just overtly say, neither of these two groups can overtly say that they are going to do these things. So they need to find their way into major political parties, and they use the veneers that those political parties have in order to cattle people in to those particular parties, which helps their interests. The oligarchy capitalists need Republicans who advocate for merit, personal responsibility, hyper individualism, meritocracy, and the like, because that's the only way they'll be able to justify to people that Elon Musk is doing what he's doing and it's okay. On the flip side of it, it's the only way that Democrats can advertise that these corporations are actually good for you and these corporations create stability is through the advocation of sort of like woke ideology. So essentially the idea of identity just for the sake of identity. They'll advertise that the only way that you can have woke ideology is through these corporations and the stability that these corporations have to offer, the stability that these institutions have to offer, despite the fact that these institutions function within the interests of corporate elites. But they use the woke talk, the very vapid identity politics to not only bring people into the party, but keep them there. And both of these groups have different tactics of keeping people in these two major parties against their best interests. Both of these manifestations of capitalism, the corporatism and the oligarchy, they want you to be in a particular position in society that doesn't allow you to advocate for or fight for anything that you care about. And the entire American system puts you in this position where in the face of Donald Trump, in the face of the never-ending colonial expansion of the West, the never-ending subjugation and oppression of the global South, in the face of the overt expansion of the military, the expansion of the police state, all these things, they want you in a particular position where the only thing that you think you can do is just be stuck or go on Twitter and argue with people. And the tactics that are used within that control and maintaining you in that position are very powerful. You're not designed or socialized to be advocates of labor movements. You're not designed to support strikes and supporting workers getting fair wages and fair benefits. And you're not even in a position where your material conditions are affected by a poor work environment. You're never going to navigate within other people that we ought to come together and strike against this business that we deem is abusing us. Like, no, you'll use any type of coping mechanism, and sometimes even working more, to justify that, oh, if I just work more or if they just see my labor, they'll pay me. And we know that's not necessarily the case. My main concern is that I think people need to understand that we are in a class conflict between corporatists and the oligarchy. And both of these groups found ways into the two major political parties, and they're using the veneer that these political parties present in order to continue their ideas, continue their expansion, and continue their concentration of wealth, whether that be concentration of wealth to businesses, big businesses and corporations, or the concentration of wealth to a concentrated amount of private individuals.